I need to do my. Can I do a Cartman voice? We need to do a South Park.
Can you do a Cartman voice?
I haven't been drinking yet.
I won't even try.
Guys! Nope. Whoop, almost had it.
Oh, I could.
All right.
I could do Kenny like.
Oh my God! You killed Kenny!
Hi, my name is Ray, or some of you might know me as Tiki with Ray. Today I'm with my good buddy Stephen Curran. We're in his home tiki bar, the Rocking Jellyfish Lounge, and we just came back from a trip from Denver, Colorado to visit probably the most popular Mexican restaurant ever. We visited Casa Bonita. If you don't know what Casa Bonita is, it's this very large Mexican restaurant that has a diving pool in the middle of it, where there's literally cliff divers that dive off. And then there's like a haunted house cave. There's like mines. There's there's like an arcade. And I've never been to a place like this. And obviously Casa Bonita has nothing to do with tiki, but it kind of does in a way, which I think we're going to get into.
Yeah, in a way we've discussed before, and that is the immersive theme environment.
Yeah. So Casa Bonita started in the 70s? Is that right?
I think it started earlier than that. So the Casa Bonita was a chain.
Yeah.
And it was in various locations. And has a restaurant, and its last iteration was the one in Denver, which is the only one left standing today, and it was a destination for kids. So when we were talking to people at their bars or out at restaurants, and a group of us, some of us had come in to Denver, but I would say more than half the group were native to the area, and they all have memories of even field trips or their parents taking them for special occasions.
Yeah.
And it was just like I say, a huge sort of having a tacky Disneyland in your own backyard. It was a big deal for kids to go there, and so a lot of them had a lot of fond memories of everything except for the food. And so the other locations had faded away, but the owner had tried to make this his crown jewel. And it was basically, it's in a large shopping center strip mall, like with a discount dentist next door, an Ulta beauty products. I think there's a grocery store in there. I mean, it's just like a mishmash of your usual mini mall, the large kind, so it wasn't so mini. But yeah, a shopping center. And it used to be a department store.
It was.
Yeah, pay the pay.
And what's interesting too is that you I remember when we drove up, and I think your response was like, "No, wait, this is where it's at."
Yeah, exactly, because it and we'll get into why Casa Bonita is popular, but those of us who've never been are expecting, I don't know, just like in its own landscaped oasis, a little Disneyland, because it's a big pink palace. When you see a picture of just that, you kind of expect it to be in its own manicured parking lot with a manicure around it and a field, or a little like a mini Disneyland entrance. I mean, didn't you? And then you go there and you're going, wait, we're in the middle of this nondescript mall you'd see in any city in the USA, and suddenly out in the corner, where the department store used to be, a big department store, is the pink tower just in the corner. And you go, wait, it's just very incongruous. It's not what you expect for a tourist destination.
And what's really weird about it is when you look at it from street level, it's literally like one floor, and you're like, "No, there's a diving pool." It doesn't make sense. Well, obviously, when you're going into the building, you're kind of coming in at the third level or something like that, the second level. I think if you go behind the shopping center, it's like like lower. You know?
Yeah. It's basically, if I'm envisioning the department store, and you can see pictures online, but the layout being like a big basement, a big first floor and a big second floor.
Yeah.
Just like in malls, like any mall where they'd have an old Macy's or whatever. Big, but not like huge. And so what you do is you walk in, and what they do, it's an amazing architectural layout because there's ramps and things, so you're a little disoriented what's on the third floor, second, first, or basement level. And it's obviously, like you said, it seems to be dug in the ground.
Yeah.
Because you're entering in the middle, and we ate up top.
Yeah.
But it's not structured so static. You get to go meandering past and get lost in the space, which is amazing, because one of the great things about building a big space is to have areas sectioned off. Mm-hmm. This is one of the great things about friends who've built big commercial or home tiki bars as well, is that they segment like seating areas and all of that, and that you have to meander through it. So there's like, you don't know what's around the next corner, and you're not sure exactly what floor you're on. And so there's a sense of kind of adventure to see, oh, what's this over here, what's that over there. And as you said, the anchor point, although you can't see it from everywhere, is the diving pool, which the rock diving pool would be I would say about 2 stories tall.
Yeah, it's pretty tall.
Pretty, what did you say, 12, we'll have to look this up, but 12 to 16 feet. I mean, it's not a small area. The pool is small. And so even though these divers, I'm sure are accomplished, the people who dive in there every 15 or 20 minutes for the diving show, it's not a big pool in terms of, of its orientation. And I don't know how deep it is, but
I mean, I guess it has to be deep enough for them to when they jump in, they got like room to go.
But what's amazing was the young men and women who were there the day we were there, when they do like maybe 2 or 3 dives per show. For these little 1-2 minute shows, they actually, rather than climb up a normal ladder or stairwell between dives, they're coming up the lava rocks,
they're literally climbing
like
up
cliff
the rock.
divers. Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god. From what I understand, it's like, Casa Bonita was awesome and did great for like a long time.
Well, it was awesome, the decor.
And then I guess,
but the food was always, except for one dish we'll talk about in a minute, it was always considered awful.
Well, what I've learned, did you see the documentary Casa Bonita Mi Amor?
No,
I did. And I guess what happened in the documentary is that it got bought out by like a corporate business of some kind.
Yeah.
And then I think that was the 80s. And then what happened is when that business took over, quality control just like went out the window.
Yeah, but even in the best of times, the people who were been there before that said it was never the best of food. But you're right, when the corporation took over, they have their own little mini museum inside there, an area with the history, that it drew unfavorable comparisons to eating dog food. And they even put that in their own museum after the corporate interest took over.
Yeah, and as it like went on, you go into like the 90s and the 2000s, supposedly it was just kind of like, it was still there. I mean, it was all there, but like, the reputation was the food sucks, and it was showing its age, and then like COVID happened. And
even before COVID,
it was. I think it was kind of on the way out. Almost.
But bringing it back to comparisons to tiki bars or that environment, it was sort of like how sort of tiki died off in the 70s and into the 80s, or how things that when I was a kid I thought was so cool. Rainforest cafes and these built environments, a few of which still exist in some areas, but where they were in a lot of places and they were considered by some of us immature kids to be like cool places, and sort of died off, and it wasn't a thing anymore. as well as, like I said, quality control and the wear and tear on the building. And yeah, it just sort of, and even before COVID, was fading into oblivion. But the South Park guys,
They actually bought it and then they restored it.
yeah, I think both of them did, or was it just Trey Parker? Anyway,
I think it's both of them. And originally, they thought like, okay, well, we'll buy this, you know, maybe invest a couple $1 million to like get it up to snuff and, and like to repair it, to fix it up. And as they went on to it, like it ended up costing like $40 million.
yeah, anybody who's bought like. No, we didn't spend $40 million, but if you buy a mid-century modern home that's more than 50 years old, you start tearing out the walls. Or in my case, we renovated the whole house, new pipes, sealed up the walls, and then we had our electrician come in, and the electrician, she said, you got aluminum wire. This is a fire hazard with modern fixtures, and we said so. We had to tear it all apart.
That's exactly what they ran into, but like with everything.
Yes,
like it wasn't like, okay, we just need to like spruce up a couple stuff. They had to go and like redo, literally, the electronics. Like so they showed like where the cliff divers go. Like when they go in, they would swim out through this like hole in the back, but there was like literally like electrical wires and shit like that hanging in this shit.
I had heard that.
And there was like this hole that wasn't like, maybe it was like this kind of big, and you're like, they're like risking their lives doing this stuff.
Oh yeah. They just because it was built with some of our Denver friends said, yeah, they just when they built this in the 70s, they just took a backhoe and just did it out without a permit, and the electrical wires were dangerously close to touching the water.
They literally had to like gut the thing.
Yeah.
Make everything right, bring everything up the code, and then rebuild it. And I mean, I've seen footage of it. I've seen pictures of what it looked like, and I honestly feel that the Casa Bonita that's there now is probably, the experience is way better than it ever was. So when we went in, the first part you kind of go into is it makes it feel like you're in this like Mexican town, and you kind of wind yourself around. You go through a couple winds and turns, and then the server is going to be like, all right, follow me, and we're going to take you to your seat. And how you walk in is you kind of come around this bend, and as you're going around this bend, you go slightly up. And it's awesome because you slowly start to see, like you can't take it all in at the same time because it's being presented to you.
Yeah.
With each step as you go. We got seated, I guess it would be the top floor, which is hard to say because there's no like floors. There's just sections and areas. And there's two different reservations that you can do. You can get a the VIP reservation?
Yeah.
Where you get to sit like around there. And then there's like everywhere else.
Yeah, we were everywhere else.
Yeah. But I mean, that pro tip though, you don't necessarily need to get one of the VIP seatings, because what's going to happen is after you get done eating, was there a time limit for the food, like your dinner, like?
Well, we ate it so fast.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. But they discourage you and try to prohibit you from wandering around until after you've eaten. So basically, you're paying for the whole event with your food. And so they only have, and this was always true, because they have such huge quantities of people, you need a reservation, and you need, there are very few not very few, but only a few menu options, because everything's done. It used to be cafeteria style before COVID, and it reopened. But everything's done.
Yeah, there was servers. Yeah. They took your orders. They brought you your food.
But it was a limited menu. They try to standardize all the operations so that they can sling out the food quickly.
Yeah, but the point is, it's like when you're going to go there, you're going to go in and then you're going to eat. And then once you're done eating, then you could
wander around.
Then you can wander around. And just like you said, the menu didn't have a lot of things. I got the tacos.
The beef ones, right?
Yeah, and it was kind of cool because it was like, okay, here's the tortillas, here's the refried beans, here's the meat, here's the salsa. I mean, I thought they were fine. What did you have?
I had cheese enchiladas with Christmas tree sauce. which means red and green sauce. It's a very much. I didn't know it was also a Colorado thing, but it also is a New Mexico thing. And it was okay. It wasn't bad. Wasn't great. It was just fine. But you're missing the best part of the meal. The little flag, yeah.
I'll tell you what, the sopapillas make up for it because...
So for those who don't know, it's basically a tortilla into a pillow, almost like a beignet, but not as thick in the middle. It's more air pocket and coated in what? Honey. Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea is that you have this flag, and if you want more sopapillas, you raise the flag up. What did you think? I think 45 minutes. It took for us to eat, maybe.
If that. We gobbled our food, and they serve you quickly, at least when we were there. We were there on a crowded Friday day, but
the service was great.
Because the menu's standardized, so unless you're ordering something special or off menu, which we didn't, they were just, everything comes out quick, and we were in such a hurry to walk around.
Yeah.
Because in fact, you had said, "Oh, do you want to walk around before?" And I go, "No, they discourage that. Let's just eat."
Yeah,
enjoy our food and go, but
and it kind of makes sense because it's. I think we were in there for 3 hours.
Yeah, we were there a while.
I think we were there for 3 hours, and after we got done eating, we made it down to where you can watch the cliff divers. Pretty much you could just stand there. There's no one kicking you out.
There's actually even a kind of a splash zone
and
there's one cliff diver, and she was trying to splash people who got close to the rail, which is kind of fun. Yeah.
And they do the cliff diving every 20 minutes. So it isn't you're gonna see a bunch of people jump in the water as it goes on. Because then we went into kind of what do they call it, the back cave. You can go behind the whole thing. And when there's actually this area where you can watch out, and
not a lot of people knew that, but we kind of gravitated toward it right away. Where you go on the second. If you call it 3 levels of cliff diving, it's between the second and third level, and it's right where the platform is where the divers did. In fact, remember the one diver just saw us taking picture, and so she blew us a kiss for my iPhone camera, and it's really cool because you're behind the waterfall. That was the most fun place to watch the diving. But you can watch it from up above where people are eating, down below where they splash. There's a kind of an intermediate area near the entrance. So, and if you're wandering around enough, you'll get plenty of it. And the divers, there was a man and a woman, and they'd either alternate doing solo, and then they did a duet maybe every hour. And they were great. They just hammed it up, had a lot of fun with the audience, dance with each other, doing sort of a kind of, flamenco type dance or whatever suited their fancy, or did the tango together or something. And it was just all in good fun. And then they dive, and they'd even try to splash people. It was great. Yeah. It was a lot of, the whole thing about this is, I'm sort of giving the end away in the middle, but it's just good, cheesy fun. It really is the whole thing, top to bottom.
Yeah, we went, and then we continued further going down there, and then there was a tarot card reader. She had her own little cubby hole kind of, and then it comes out.
She had a good line going on. Yeah. People got a lot of issues they want to solve through playing cards. But
I guess whatever. So. And then we come out, and then there's this giant cave. It's haunted house cave, which is literally almost like a dark ride where you walk through it.
And it's tacky AF, which was great.
And you go.
They kept it look. They kept all the great tacky stuff.
They have these skeletons that are talking, and then you kind of walk up first, and you kind of go into this thing, and you don't know how big this thing is, but actually, you're in there for a couple minutes.
Yeah, and it's really fun because there's that. Remember that sort of demon or devil stairwell? I have a picture. You'll have to show it. I took a picture of you standing at the bottom and in red light, and then there's this whole area with stairs going down. So it's really, and when the demons pop up with you, it's very kind of 1950s arcade demon popping up. Again, the kind of tacky, kind of fun house stuff. It was again. Really good, and again trippy because it had some Western theme at the beginning and end, but again, that whole aesthetic, for those old enough to remember the Knott's Berry Farm of old, and I'm sure people in other regions of the country will when they hear this or when they go there, they'll trigger a memory of some other thing they've been to, whether it's Epcot, which is a more polished, of course, or a regional theme park, and because that's what. Well, anyway, we'll get to it in a minute, but that being a themed bar, part theme park, part restaurant with a few bars in it, is just is why we wanted to go there and why we're talking about it.
After that, we went into the arcade. And the cool thing is they even have like a shooting gallery. And then after that, I think we worked our way down to the bottom floor.
There's the basement, the mines, and they also have seating and food all around everywhere.
Yeah, you're literally like, it's almost like you're like in these mines. The bathrooms downstairs, like that hallway is was Aztec themed.
Yeah, they did have a sort of Aztec/Mayan theme area as well. I had forgotten about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have like a fortune teller guy, like instead of Zola or whatever, it's this old prospector where he's wearing like a faucet.
Oh, they have a lot of these little attractions and people doing stuff. I mean, they had that.
And you literally
that Pigman 8 costume, which is reminiscent of their original costume, the guy walking around, but not in a standard ape costume. It was a real.
Yeah, they have characters.
That guy was fun.
There was this cowboy guy. He's like full in character. He comes to me. He's like, I was wearing a Hawaiian. So he goes, "Hey, Hawaiian,"
Yeah, and there was a woman singing country. She was a very young woman, but she was just like having fun, and so. I forgot. I was asking her directions to somewhere, and I had to play the old Westie, the old prospector with only a couple teeth to her, and so she could kind of get into it. Because at first I was just going to straight up saying, "Hey, where the hell is the XYZ?"
Well, didn't someone tell you "Hey, look out for the underpants gnomes" or something like that?
Yeah, the gnomes. They're shadows in the deepest corner of the basement.
Like you go down,
which is one of only 2 South Park Easter eggs I'm aware of. Although there may be more. Again, we're not going to give away all the Easter eggs, but yeah, you can find the gnomes. The South Park. I don't know if anybody remembers the South Park episodes with the underpants gnomes, but anyway. So a couple of South Park Easter eggs, which I really appreciate that they didn't make it all a South Park theme, but that they put some Easter eggs there to, for those who want to get a little bit of the South Park fix.
Well, Trey Parker does. I think he does the vocals for all the different talking, in that haunted house thing. That's him talking. That's him doing all the things. No, there is a table up on top where they have Cartman, so you can get your a selfie with him. And I remember down at the bottom floor there was a theater. But we didn't go. We didn't.
It was the magic show.
It was a magic show.
And there was another bar down there.
Yeah.
And there was no one else having drinks, so we were able to chat. And it was a little more Mexican themed Day of the Dead. Yeah, Dios de Muerte. Yeah. I didn't know that we'd be this thorough when describing everything. This is interesting.
No, I knew I was going to be this thorough.
Oh, okay.
Because then I thought, okay, well, the best way to go through it is to just literally go it play by play as we did it.
Probably better your way than mine. Mine was going to go, oh, you got to check it out for yourself. It's if you like good cheesy fun, it's there. Well, that was going to be my summary of the experience.
It made me realize what I love about tiki bars, and since I haven't drank now in 3 years and stuff like that, and what I love about tiki is the immersive environments. That is what I love.
Well, this is the meat of the discussion I wanted to have. Like I say, I didn't know we'd do a tour, which I'm glad we did. But
well, let's get
but it's a theme that we've been drawing on. Theme. The word theme is going to come up 4 times. A theme we've been drawing upon thematically to talk about themed bars, but. When we were talking earlier and I said it's kind of like Epcot, a theme park and a theme bar. Yeah. And something I've harped on a lot recently is, tiki is such a limiting term in some ways because places like Mothership in San Diego, go see our episode on that. That was a good episode about a great bar.
Yeah.
proud of me for the self-promotion.
That's really
I thought
good.
that was really good.
Yeah, it's
it
called
was really
it.
well.
That's good.
Anyway, but when the things that people call a tiki bar that really aren't, but are heavily influenced by it.
Yeah.
Or in this case, it's heavily influenced by, and I'd be interested to know whether the founder had ever been to the Knott's Berry Farm or Disney when it was, raw in the 50s, or even we've discussed in our Los Angeles travels, the bars from the 20s and 30s that were thematic that probably influenced Don Beach, or Don Beach influenced every. And so there's a whole through line of thematic elements, tiki being the strongest and the most readily identifiable.
Yeah.
And this was part of that pantheon of the early Disney, Knott's Berry Farm, the precursors that you and I have talked about, the World's Fair, and those theme places we've talked about particularly in the 1930s.
Yeah.
But also even into the 1960s in Seattle and New York.
If you're into the elements of tiki that we love, I think it's worth the trip to Casa Bonita.
Definitely. It is, yeah.
We're trading in Mai Tais for sopapillas. It made me realize what I love about tiki is immersive environments, and we're not on this same trip we went to Meow Wolf, and that's like a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Oh, that is
and
yes, please.
And I'm realizing that this is what I like about it. I love immersive environments, and
And we'll hit Hell and High Water. Shout out to them in Denver as well.
It sounds like it's like a woman's name, Helen and High Water.
Oh, Helen and High Water, yes.
So after
Helen and High Water, okay, yes. Go see Helen and High and in the water, okay.
It sounds like a law firm.
Helen High, yeah, this demonic. I see this. I see this guy from this well dashed, the devil mugs that like we get from Vegas, with the mustache. What's the? I have him right there. Yeah. Oh, who's the? Yeah.
Hi, this is Helen and High Water. How can I direct your call?
No. So all I can see is this guy from Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
I see him sitting behind a desk, having been a lawyer in my past life, sitting in this really nice suit with a tie, kick back, and entering into a contract for you to sell your soul, Only all he needs is a little pencil and handlebar mustache.
There you go.
Hell and High Water.
Want to support the Tiki with Ray show and look cool doing it at the same time? Then head over to tikiwithray.com and buy yourself a Tiki with Ray shirt. They're only $20. Tony Canepa did the design, and they're screen printed in America.